Alright peeps, Mr. ATC once again back to you for another idea of our zig. And today, what are we gonna do? As you may have seen it in the preview video that I've been sharing with you a few days ago, today it's gonna be all about relaxing outside. And in order to do so, I'm gonna be showing you how to create a nice bench for your garden or even your balcony. Using pallet wood, you are new to our concept and you like what we are doing and you would like to see even more in the future. So I will advise you, I will be glad if you subscribe just right here, then you click on the bell to receive a notification every time we are sharing new content with you. As you may have seen it, I've been sharing with you a quick live where I've been asking what you think it could be. So I would like to give a big thanks to Luis Flores, based in Ecuador. Also, Gil C, I don't know where you are based, but thanks. And Nani Rage for giving me some ideas for what it could be or what we can make out of those pallets. As you know, it's not only thanks to the subscribers, but also a big thanks to all the members of our community, the ATC app, that you can join every time you want if you have some nice ideas to share with us. One of the goals is also to involve people in recycling pallet wood and create beautiful design for your home. Now, enough with the talking. And as usual, let's make it happen. First, and as you can see, here is the place I will have to work on. I really like those large pallets because you can do so much with them, and I'm mainly using them in order to create some big furnitures. As you can see, for this project I will be using around 4 to 5 pallets. Then you will see also later on, I will be using some EUR pallets. And this in order to create the cover. Alright, so let's start working on them. And I'm gonna remove the first 2 and start with only 2 that I will put flat on the ground to start cutting them. And in order to cut each slat, I will be using my reciprocating saw. But keep in mind that you can also use your jigsaw or your hand saw. When cutting the one in front, I will have also to cut 2 placed in the back. And this in order to dismantle part of the pallet. When this is done, I'm bringing one full pallet in order to create the back side. But by looking at it, I can imagine that this could be a little bit too high. So here, I'm going to cut part of it in order to have a lower back. And of course, in order to do so, I'm taking into consideration the seat. In order to cut part of it, I'm gonna place the full pallet over the seat. Then measure 80 centimeters so I can remove the rest. To trace the lines, I will also use one other scrap wood that I have in my workshop, and after that turn it around to do the same thing on the back side, and also making sure to have the same dimension. Then now using again my reciprocating saw to make the cut. Of course, on both sides. And the part here that I'm holding will be used in order to recreate this back seat. I will first take it and put it on the side to start working on the smaller piece here. The only thing I will have to do is to remove the small slats and take the big part here with the blocks and put it back on the back seat. If you try it and it's difficult with your reciprocating saw, feel free to use your hammer. Then of course, I'm removing the nails. But keep in mind that when I'm removing the nails, I'm adding after that some screws in order to keep it steady. And also using my nail gun. If you are adding screws, you won't need to add any glue, any wood glue after that. And here I am with the part, the only part I will need in order to reproduce the pallet. So now let's take back the big piece here and complete it with the small piece, as I'm doing it here. Then I will be using again my nail gun in order to attach them together and to make sure it doesn't move anyway. Alright, so it's all complete now. Let's put it back, and as you can see, it's lower than before. Much lower than before. But at the same time, this brings me with another problem. The seat itself is a little bit too low, and to put it higher, I will be using the pallet blocks, but this will be for later. Now, using the last pallet, I will be creating the side bench. You will see a little bit later in the video what I'm talking about. As it's supposed to be a bench going in a corner, I will have to create some kind of angle, you know. So for this, I'm reproducing the same thing, but this time I'm cutting the long pallet in half, repeating the same process of course, but this time in order to create a smaller version of it. And again, putting them on top of each other. To find myself with a complete bench, but it's not time yet to assemble them all, so I'm just showing you how it looks like. And of course, as you can imagine, when you have a bench, you need a table. So let's try to make something out. And if you are looking to reproduce the same design, we'll be also sharing a nice 3D plan. We are doing our best at least to share with you every week a 3D plans via our newsletter. So feel free to subscribe just in the link we are sharing with you via the video description, and we will do the rest. And we will make the magic happen. Alright, when all this is done, I'm gonna take the leftover in order to create the table, as I told you. And for this, one more time, I'm gonna recreate with the leftover a small pallet, removing the useless slat, then the nails, having this part with the block, and putting it back to this part here. As it's very small, for this I'm gonna go to my work table. I'm gonna do it here and cut it just after. And as I showed you before, I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. We're creating the pallet, again using my nail gun or some screws, depending on what you have. Then after that, I will be cutting it in half to put each of the parts on top of each other. To make the cut, as I told you before, you don't only need to use your reciprocating saw. So here I have the chance, so I've decided to use my jigsaw. Now I'm gonna put them on top of each other, as before. Et voila, here we are. Fixing them to each other by using some screws. And you don't need to put too much, eh? 1 or 2 on each side should be enough. And here we are with a small table. Now I'm going to go ahead and screw all of the other parts. And remember, as I told you before, we're going to use the blocks in order to put the seat, the table, and each part of this pallet bench a little bit higher. For this, I will need to create a hole in the middle of each of them. And note that in order to attach them on the frame, I will use some long screw measuring around 10 to 12 centimeters. Et voila, here we are, with each of them with the holes. I'm gonna first start with the table, then move after that to the bench. Wow. I'm already quite impressed with the result. As you can see, it's a little bit higher. I can put the back seat and it looks a little bit more like a bench, I would say. So now, the final step to attach will be for me the back of the seat. And note that I will be, one more time, using some big screws, 10 to 12 centimeters. Pretty strong, as you can see. So the last step before painting will be to add covers all over the frame. And when I'm saying all over the frame, I'm talking about the table and the bench. You will see in a few minutes. To cut the different slats, I will be of course using my miter saw. Then after that, adding some wood glue to make sure it stays in place. And attach using my nail gun. Repeating the same thing all over the table and also all over the frame. And before painting again, I will just sand a little bit in order to remove some of the dust, some of the imperfections, to make sure I don't need to add too much wood filler. And in order to sand this part here, in between each of the pallet slats, I will be using my rolling sander. Then, using my air pressure to spray a little bit of the dust, as much as I can of course. And after all that, here is what you should have. Then I'm moving the table to the painting platform that I've created also with Pallet. And for the table, I will be using, not only for the table actually, but I will be using for the entire frame, table and bench. For this, I will be using some white paint. Because at the end, this design is supposed to be green and white. Then using some wood filler to fill up the small holes. And here is one of the most exciting part. You know, in order to fill up the holes and to add the cover, I will be using some EUR pallet, as they are very large. They have some very large slats, and those slats will be used to insert in between the frames. But note that not all of them have the same thickness, the same width. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to cut 2 small slats in order to add them. Alright, let's go back to the painting here. First, I'm gonna fill up the holes and paint all in green. And a very nice indoor shiny green. And I like this green because it's gonna keep inside the house a very funny and exotic spirit. If you are taking a close look in the middle, exactly where I'm standing, you will see that the green slat that I've used are much smaller than the one on each side. Now I will finish the table just by adding the surrounding of it, you know. I'm gonna keep it very easy here. Just create a cover top, and after that use my wood burning method to burn it, and this will be actually the only side looking a little bit more rustic from this design. And I'm gonna be honest with you, as it was already pretty long to create, here I didn't make it difficult for the tabletop. So I just kept it very simple. But in one of the other projects, I will be showing you different design for tables. As I told you before, I'm gonna burn the top to give it the rustic effect. Add some transparent, clear varnish. Et voila, here we are with a beautiful white and green and rustic tabletop for your home. Home sweet home. So now let's see how it looks like inside. Then with some pillow. And after that, I found someone very nice to show us a little bit how it looks when you are sitting on it.
We're also sharing some tools with you via the video description, so feel free to check them out. And as I was telling you, it's all a matter of creativity. As soon as you have the right creativity, you have an idea and you would like to make it happen, remember that pallet wood, it's still wood. So you can create a lot of things. As soon as you are ready to remove the different slats in those pallets, you can create beautiful things. Alright, that was Mr. ATC for you and for another idea of housing through recycling. If you like our concept and you would like to join us, you're new to our channel, feel free to subscribe just right here. Then click on the bell to receive a notification every time we are sharing new content with you. And on my side, I will see you next time.